From 17 once again. This is my Metal Gear Solid 5 S-Rank video walkthrough. This is the very beginning of the game. It is the prologue entitled Awakening, and I'm going to be showing you a couple of the settings that I'm changing at the beginning here, just for posterity reasons. I take reflex mode off because it's going to help you get some of the ranks. The good thing is, when you turn it off, you get that bonus by default. So when you make a mistake, you can always retry a checkpoint, something along those lines. It's not really that big of a deal. If you have it on, if you trigger it, boom, the bonus is gone. So by turning it off, you never have that question of, you know, having it triggered accidentally and then committing to it. So you will always get that bonus. It'll always add towards your rank, and it makes it a little bit easier to push for some points. That being said, I do think reflex mode is a really interesting addition to this game, and if it's your first playthrough, I would recommend using it because I think you're going to have a lot more fun that way. However, this is the beginning. We are in the hospital in Cyprus, and this is the worst introduction of a Metal Gear Solid game I've ever played. I think it's horrendous. I really do. You spend 60% of this game on your belly in stealth, if you're doing it right. Why the hell would they have it so that you have to crawl for the entire beginning, which I've pretty much mostly trimmed out because I find it so unbearably frustrating that I found this chapter to be lacking in every single conceivable way. And the best part is, folks, there is a mission coming up later on. I think it's mission 46. It's entitled The Truth, where it goes back over the events of this once you have a whole bunch of information and a whole bunch of reference and backstory, and the context shifts dramatically. However, it's two cutscenes. The cutscene at the very beginning, which I've skipped, where Quiet tries to assassinate you, and then at the end, after this, after the chase at the end of this video, those are the only two distinctions of difference, yet they make you play this entire sequence again. This ludicrously boring, witheringly slow, following, you know, Ishmael through this hospital while dramatic things happen, which, don't get me wrong, when you're first playing it, I guess it would be kind of okay, but all the interesting things that happen story beat wise on this level are completely destroyed by the fact that I fucking hate crawling. I hate being forced to move slow in any game I play, so it is the ultimate way of completely stripping your set pieces of any kind of value to me, because I want the enemies to shoot me, I want to die because I'm so sick of crawling, and I just think it undermined this entire sequence. It stripped it, it neutered it, it homogenized it in such a way that I just really didn't enjoy it. And I have some pretty bold statements against this game that is getting 10s everywhere, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit of those in these videos, but for the most, some of the videos are going to be pretty short, so we're going to be focusing on what's happening. So at this beginning moment, these guys are going to be going systematically through these hospital gurneys and executing. If you are not underneath one of the gurneys, you will die. On my first playthrough, I died because I didn't realise he was going to go in every room, so I just kind of committed to one of the cubicles and he shot me dead, which I thought was pretty great. And once again, this is one of those moments that is pretty interesting and pretty tense if you're in the moment and if it's immersed you in the game's narrative, but up until this point, you've spent 15 minutes crawling, wanting to move quickly, while Ishmael doesn't help you. He doesn't even pretend to help you. Like, the guy doesn't give a shit. But once these two people walk towards the door over there, you're going to notice that Ishmael is magically by my side now. You cannot move until your companion does. When he moves out of this, the game will then allow you to have control. But there are moments within this prologue where you physically can't go the direction you're holding the analog because you have to wait for these certain beats and animations. And if you think about it, Metal Gear Solid, very beginning, you come out of the water, you do the very first stealth section. What is the two guards, the elevator comes down and there's another guard. Awesome section. That is one of the most iconic moments of a Metal Gear game for me ever, because it was the demo, and I played that demo, and I hated it at first because I couldn't do it. And then later on, I grew to appreciate it, and I grew to love the series. Metal Gear Solid 2, the tanker. The best demo in history is the demo for Metal Gear Solid 2 for me, because I spent almost 6 months playing it, and I never got bored. Metal Gear Solid 3, what do you do at the very beginning? You infiltrate the jungle. Like, Metal Gear Solid 4, you run past that gecko, don't you, under that van, and then you go through those areas and everybody's fighting. The entire time you're in control, in all of these. Ground Zeroes, heck. You just go into that camp, and then there's this. And when I think about it, it's hard to be that angry at it, because if you think about those other games, this was all cutscene, and you were learning things, and there was conversations, and there was codec and all that, but you weren't controlling it. And I think that's the thing. When I come to a Metal Gear game, I accept that I'm going to get 5 minutes of gameplay and 50 minutes of cutscenes. And I accept that, and I enjoy that, and that's what I've come to enjoy about them. And then when it does become about the gameplay and less about the story, you skip them and you focus on the gameplay, and then it's all good, because you can skip it. Whereas in this, because they're making you play, because they're trying to blur the lines between gameplay and cinematics, when you come back to this, you can't skip this bullshit. I know exactly where to go here, but I can't do it until he triggers it. And it just feels like hand-holding at its worst, because it's leading the breadcrumbs for a narrative that I already know. So the allure is gone, the mystique is gone, and all that's happening is you are wasting my time. And I'll never understand why games want to do these moments without, you know, press skip and it jumps to the bit where you actually do something. Like, how hard is it to do that? I don't think it is. And obviously don't let people do it on their first playthrough, but afterwards, who the hell wants to do these moments? I don't understand them. And it's the first narrative misstep this game takes in a colossal misstep of narrative that is this game, which once again I'm going to discuss later on. But right here, you've been given a pistol and you have to shoot the fire extinguisher and then turn around and follow Ishmael. A couple of things to bear in mind with the gun. You'll notice that the passive aimer is very similar to Peace Walker. This game is essentially the next version of Peace Walker. It shares so many similarities with that title, and if you're a big fan of that game and you really enjoyed Ground Zero's kind of open-ended world, even though it was, you know, quite contained, then I think that you're really going to love the direction that this game has gone. Oh, this sequence here, I was waiting for Ishmael to kill these people, but he never fired. So I ended up taking a hit then, which I wasn't too sure on how that worked. Some Kane and Lynch cover system right there. And I assume there is a way to do this without killing them, but I shoot the fire extinguisher in hopes of maybe going up there and sneaking past, but they continued to move forward when I did that. So I just shoot them in the face. But it's one of those things where I'll probably never come back to this level and try and get the no tracers bonus, because I hate all the bullshit that I have to do, and I hate the crawling for the first half of it. Which is really sad, because I think the stealth section coming up is a really fun one, and it really introduces you to the concept that you're going to be doing a lot of sneaking in this game, and although it might not be as linear as this particular instance right now, it still, you know, holds merit. So immediately I go onto my belly. If you have a grenade, when you aim with the grenade, it'll boom a turn on the ground. You won't have to get up. But for some reason, when you have a gun, Snake starts laying on his back and spinning around and like ass crawling backwards and all kinds of weird shit. So if you have anything like a grenade or a mine, that is a much better way of turning your position. But if you crawl around here, fortune favours the bold in this particular instance. Don't worry too much about it. Just crawl towards the open doorway to my right, and it's going to trigger a cutscene, because this is literally carrot on the string, cutscene to cutscene to cutscene. And if the gameplay was all like this, I would have enjoyed it considerably more. But unfortunately, it's very staccato-y, it's very short, stabby. And there's a little quick time event, which is a little uncanny. But once you're back in control, run towards the doorway after you've been introduced to the man on fire and to the ginger mantis, and then there's going to be a bunch of exposition, and we're going to be chased by the man on fire on the horse. So this is a flaming unicorn with a man who's on fire with it, and there's a bonus on this level for a side objective to not get hit by this character's attacks. And if you watch, all you have to do normally is shoot him when he charges up like then, but it didn't stun him. So I don't know if that counts, that one, as taking a hit, but it looked like it to me. I can't understand how, when you shoot somebody with a shotgun, that it doesn't interrupt that animation when he draws his hand back. So it's a pretty interesting sequence. I don't know if you're in that much of a risk of dying here, because the life system in the game now is completely different. They've gone for a regenerative healing system that is as confusing as it is lenient, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. There are times when you will take 25 hits. It even says on the screen, taken 25 hits, and you're still alive, and there's times when you'll take 2 hits and you'll die. And it doesn't really seem to make any difference what kind of hits they are. It's kind of confusing like that. Anybody wondering about difficulty as well, because of course this is not, you know, hard, this is not extreme, this is not European extreme. This game doesn't have difficulty, guys. I bought the official guidebook, and that was the first thing I looked up. There are no difficulties in this game. Instead, it has a dynamic difficulty, which I'm going to explain, that you can change in certain ways, and the game will progressively get more difficult as the further you go through it. Which, once again, I'm going to try and discuss a little bit further on as I try and shoot Ocelot in the back. Because Troy Baker is not Ocelot, dude. Get that other guy. Just get him to pretend to be younger. Like, come on, we don't need Troy Baker and everything. This is a fun little section. I do quite like the idea of it. I do quite like the hamminess of this entire sequence, and it makes you wonder: is it that injection that you were given that made you trip acid and see all this bullshit stuff, or is it all really happening? But there was the S rank, guys. Welcome to my walkthrough. It's going to be pretty long because there's what, 50 missions if I do all of them. I think I'm only going to do the ones that get you to the end of the game, and then I might go back in and drop some other ones. But who knows? We shall see, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.